everybody, welcome to the video embedded PowerPoint for sections 5.1 and 5.2. In this section, which is a really tiny section, we're going to learn to use a given AP cost to calculate an AP cost per unit. How we're going to do that is we're going to take the cost of the entire unit we purchased divided by the number of units purchased. So let me give you an example for that. Let's say that we buy a liter of olive oil, and when we look at a recipe, we ultimately want to know how much a 1 fluid ounce portion, which is included in that recipe, will cost us. Well, in order to do that, we'd have to know the total cost of the liter of olive oil. Then we can divide it by the number of units inside that liter, and in the case of fluid ounces, there are 33.8 fluid ounces in 1 liter, and that will give us a price per 1 fluid ounce. So another example is you purchase a 20-pound bag of flour for $10. How much is the flour per pound, which is the unit now that we're going to be trying to cost? So the formula for this section is AP cost divided by the number of units purchased will give us the AP cost per unit. So in the case of flour, then the flour costs us $10 divided by the number of units we purchased, and we purchased 20 pounds. Pounds is the unit by which we purchased. Gives us a price per pound, per 1 pound, of 50 cents. So you can keep adding to this, right? You might purchase now a 5-quart bottle of olive oil for $32.99, but you can easily calculate the AP cost per quart, fluid ounce, and per liter. So we could see there how we would do that. $32.99 divided by 5 quarts gives us, that should be an equal sign, not a plus sign, gives us a price per quart of $6.59.8. And we will round soon, I promise. The next way, $32.99 for that same container, we want to know how many fluid ounces. Well, now we would multiply, okay, so there's 5 quarts times 32 fluid ounces per quart gives us a total number of fluid ounce units of 160, which when divided by $32.99 gives us a price of about 40.2061 cents per fluid ounce. And then we can do it one more way. We could get a price per liter, and you'll see the steps that I did there just to show you how to convert these 5 quarts to an appropriate number of liters, which would be 4.7337, and that would give us a price per quart of $6.9691. Moving on to section 5.2. What we will do in 5.2 is calculate the cost of an ingredient in a recipe and then calculate the total cost of a recipe. This is so exciting because you're building up to what you've come to this course to do the entire time. Manage a good, healthy food cost percentage. So now the formula that we will use is AP quantity times AP cost per unit equals the ingredient cost. Right? So we already know how to calculate for AP quantities. We'll continue to do that. Now we multiply what you just learned how to do in 5.1, the AP cost per unit in that specific recipe, and that'll give us that ingredient cost. So then we can add all of the ingredients together and get a total cost per recipe, which is right around the corner. Okay, so you got to remember what we have learned in order to do this. So in order to get the AP quantity, we have to remember how to apply unit conversions, yield application when needed. Don't forget what we learned in section 3.3, which told us that sometimes recipe writers will write ingredients by quantities of count, and when they do that, they're already assuming yield, so there's no need to divide by the yield percent to get an AP quantity, because in essence, the EP quantity, the way the recipe is written, is the same as the AP quantity. So don't forget that. Okay, so let's look at this last slide here. Let's move this up here out of your way. And this should look familiar because I'm just going to explain this to you, and then this is going to be part of your discussion this week. So if you look at this worksheet, you're going to see chicken with vegetables. Remember that I said there's 3 parts to every recipe we'll look at in this class: recipe name, recipe yield, and then the ingredient list. So you'll see this yields 8 servings, and then you'll see all the ingredients required and the quantities to make this recipe. Now your job is to calculate what each of these ingredient costs are. And you'll see over to the right in the notes, you'll see information about yield percentages. So in some cases, you'll have to divide by the yield percentage to get the AP quantity. And then you will have to get a price per unit, make sure it matches, and then multiply. the AP quantity times the price per unit to get all of the costs for this recipe. I want to draw your attention to a couple things on here as you're solving these. Don't forget what you've learned, that the recipe calls for 3 cups of shelled peas, but you are going to buy by pounds, so you'll have to do a unit conversion there using Book of Yields information, right, from volume to weight. And then pay real close attention to fennel there, because although they're saying half a head, that's still a quantity of each. So what won't you need to divide by, right? So keep that in mind. And then the rest of them are pretty straightforward. So good luck with this. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will see you in the course in discussions.